Hello and greetings, friends, gentlefolk, and ne'er-do-wells. So my latest DCS video, my second, will be the opposite end of the spectrum to my first one, which was taking off and landing in a TF-51D. This time I'm going to try something a little bit more ambitious, which will be a carrier takeoff in an A-18C. This is from a cold start parked up on the deck, so let's see how this goes. There will be some noises and it's going to be quite exciting. So here we go. Many of the control options and various things that I switch, such as switching the power on right there, you won't actually see me clicking on the controls on the screen because I'm using my HOTAS to do this. But there I've just put the APU on. So I'll be waiting for a green light there to say the APU auxiliary power unit is up to full operating capacity. While that's happening, I'm just going to flick a few switches on here for the head-up displays and those two green displays that you see, and also the colour display that's down in the lower centre. Looking down here for a green light, there it is, so it's time to crank the right engine. And I'm going to do that, and when that goes through its starting procedure, ooh, look at that, it's exciting. When that goes through its startup procedure, I'm going to then uncage the throttle. So that basically means move the throttle off the start or stop. There's a button you have to press for that. And that will get that engine properly started up. Now at this point I can, my displays aren't quite warmed up yet, but got the engine running. It's above 65, or it's about 65%, so I can start up the left-hand engine. And again, when that gets to about 20%, then I can uncage the throttle there. If I was actually looking down at the throttle, you'd see the notch forwards there. So they're both in their standard operating position now. So flaps are set to half for takeoff. That's the rudder trim switch. There is a takeoff position for the rudder trim. Sets both those big old rear rudders on this aircraft into about inwards 30 degrees. Gives it a lot more directional stability. I've also, while I'm down on this panel, set the OBOG's onboard oxygen generator system on and checked to make sure that the flow was set to full. Radar is on. It's a weight on wheels system, so the radar's not actually going to go microwaving the ground personnel. And I've set the instrument navigation, well, at least it won't. The radar will come on when we take off. I've set the instrument navigation system to CV, so that's carrier operations. And my left panel I now have set to HSI, where I can monitor the instrument navigation system as it calibrates. On this right-hand panel, I'm going to set the FCS to a built-in test, so those tests are now running. When those tests are complete, I will still have some errors on the board, which I will then use the FCS reset button to clear. So let's get onto that FCS panel. There you can see there's some X's in the boxes. They shouldn't really be there, so if we hit the FCS reset button down there, hold that down and release, and next time I go back and look at that screen, I'm setting the rudder trim again for a second time. What a safe man. Yep, we shouldn't really have any X's in any of those boxes now. So the quality of the INS is still not quite good enough. So while I'm waiting for that, let's shut the canopy, reduce some of the external noise. Engines are running fully. Now I can go over to the communications menu, which I do with a switch on my HOTAS, and ask the ground crew to remove the chocks. We ain't going anywhere without them removed.
Wheel chocks are now removed.
Quality, that value is still coming down. Actually, it's more like an accuracy value. It gets to 0.5 and says OK, and then you can flip the switch to navigate. I will immediately get a warning telling me that I've got a GPS available, so I then go on to a setting called IFA, and that gives me GPS availability. My ECM is now set to standby, and I'm just going to make sure that my dispensers are set on as well. I'm not really anticipating having to use ECM or dispensers, like that's for chaff and flares, given that I'm only taking off from a friendly carrier. If anybody decides to fire on me, then I've really done something wrong. Anyway. The other warning that we can see on the screen there is wings unlock. I ain't going to unlock those until I'm ready to actually get on the catapult. So there I'm round to nav. You can see I've got a warning at the bottom left of that display. It says advisory P-int. You might not have been able to see that because my head tracking display is flicking around all over the place as I'm sort of glancing around the cockpit and making sure I've got everything in tune. Let's check the master reset one last time. Now I'm going to arm my seat, so I'm ready for ejecting when I inevitably fail. And considering now that little control is the restraint, seatbelt restraint, which I'm not going to use right now because I need to look around an awful lot to see what what's going on the flight deck. And it gives me a bit more mobility, and also because I'm not very good at reading checklists, I'm going to fail to check that and put my restraints on before I take off. Now, I'm also not setting my TACAN or ILS, or in this case ICLS, because it's the carrier variant of it, because I'm not really, this is supposed to just be about carrier operations and takeoff. So, my instructions and my briefing for this mission said choose whichever catapult you want. Learning teaches me that if I try and choose that one there, the guy who's in the aircraft just starting up next to me will drive into me at some point. So let's not do that. So I'm going to try and get onto this catapult. And to do that I'm supposed to park my aircraft just behind the yellow box on the deck, which is where the heat and blast deflector shield rises up from. It's very, very difficult to do from the position I was parked in, and you can see that the man over there now in the fetching yellow shirt, and I think he's the guy wearing camouflage trousers rather than plain khakis. He's giving me instructions on where to drive my aircraft, so he was telling me to push it out to the right there. You just got to trust this guy, he knows what he's doing. Now I'm lining up, he's telling me to come straight ahead onto the catapult. A little bit of right, there we go. Now he's telling me I've got to put my wings out. It's a fair point, I'm not going to fly far without them. So 2 presses on that to get the wings coming down. Let's check they're coming down. Guy in the white shirt is watching that, and he's then going to run around and check that I've locked them, which I'm about to do. So that one's down, that one's down. I can push the lock lever forwards, which I've just done. Now that manoeuvre with his arm elbow straight tells me to put the locking bar down. That restrains me while they can attach me to the catapult. There's a guy who's practically at the nose of the aircraft now. He's checking that I do actually get onto the catapult, and the guy in the yellow shirt this time with the plain, is that khaki trousers? Anyway, oh no, sorry, he's still the plane director. Yeah, he's got the camo trousers on. He's telling me to get my aircraft onto the puck, which is the catapult. It's got a steep ramp on it, so you actually have to use quite a lot of power. You can see there the nose bumped down. They're happy that I'm in position, and they should tell me to remove. Yep, he's saying put the locking bar up now. That's that elbow movement. So let's put the locking bar up. Right. So he's happy. We're all happy. Quick check around the cockpit. Yeah, I don't really want to do that one for a third time. Okay, so the man over there, he's waving his hands in the air like he just don't care. And what that means is I've got to wipe the controls, so that's show full range of movement on all the controls. Forward, backwards, left, right. I'm going to increase the power to 100%. There we go. Stick right, back, left. There we go. Rudder pedals full. I'm going to put afterburners on, and then I'm going to use a quick button on my HOTAS to salute the crew, to say I'm ready. He's counted all the guys, he says he's ready, he's saying fire, and the guys in launch control have just shot me off the plane. So, quick, turn right because I'm on the right runway, get out the way of the carrier, get out the way of other aircraft taking off, keep the height down below 350 feet, well certainly below 800 because that's where guys are on their circuit to land, and there's guys on a 2,000 foot circuit above as well who are the ones who are waiting to land, so we don't really want to break through that. And get ourselves out of afterburner because we'll be needing some fuel to do something. And that's it. Now the reason I didn't show any landing on this one is because that's what happens when you try and land when you're a newbie. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, thanks for watching.